Welcome dear students to our history class of Standard 10th. Today we will continue chapter 5, Mass Media and History. In this video, we will discuss about history of mass media, the need of mass media, critical understanding of the information received through mass media, and professional opportunities. With the blossoming of electronic communication tools and platforms, news organizations have discovered a plethora of new opportunities in information delivery as well as the challenge of interviewing data privacy and security with innovation. Journalism originated as the reportage of current events, specifically in printed form, that is, newspapers. However, propelled by the massive growth in technology and electronic communication over the past decade, its scope has expanded and its definition has evolved into an all-encompassing domain of information. The current stage on that evolutionary ladder following print, radio and television is digital journalism. The most widely used and popular driver of news consumption in today's world. As of now, as many as 80% of Indians consume news on the internet, primarily through the social media and instant messaging services. The large-scale use of services like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube has allowed news organizations to offer regular updates to consumers on current events, bypassing barriers of time and accessibility. Artificial intelligence has played a key role in highlighting the emerging potential of technology in automating news delivery on digital mediums. Broadcasting began in July 1923 during the British Raj with programs by the Bombay Presidency Radio Club and other radio clubs. According to an agreement on 23rd July 1927, the Private Indian Broadcasting Company Limited, that is IBC, was authorized to operate two radio stations. The Bombay station, which began on 23rd July 1927, and the Calcutta station, which followed on 26th August 1927. The company went into liquidation on 1st March 1930. The government took over the broadcasting facilities and began the Indian State Broadcasting Service, that is ISBS, on 1st April 1930 on an experimental basis for 2 years, and permanently in May 1932 it then went on to become All India Radio on 8th June 1936. All India Radio's India's public service broadcaster. The radio vertical of Prasar Bharati has been serving to inform, educate and entertain its audience since its inception, living up to its motto Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya. It was named as Akash Vani on the suggestion of the famous poet Pandit Narendra Sharma. Akashvani broadcasts various entertainment, awareness creating and literary programs. One of the largest broadcasting organizations in the world in terms of the number of languages of broadcast and the spectrum of socio-economic and cultural diversity it serves. All India Radio's home service comprises of 470 broadcasting centers located across the country, covering nearly 92% of the country's area and 99.19% of the total population. Terrestrially, All India Radio originates programming in 23 languages and 179 dialects. Vividha Bharati is one of the best known services of All India Radio. Its name roughly translates as Diverse Indian. Vividha Bharati offers a wide range of programs including news, film music, short plays, music and comedy. Lately, various news channels like Radio Mirchi are providing radio services. Once upon a time in the 1970s, we used to sit and stare out of the window, at the ceiling, into a book. Alternatively, we would stare at the transistor radio listening to BBC's Test Match Special, Binaka Geet Mala or Forces Request. By the early 80s, we had begun to stare at the TV set and Doordarshan, which in those days were one and the same thing. Government-run DD could produce a Krishi Darshan but entertainment, na? So, the TV set was respectfully draped in a tablecloth and admired as an object of art. The Delhi Doordarshan Centre was inaugurated by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first Indian president. Doordarshan's Mumbai Centre began to telecast its programs on 1st May 1972. Color television was introduced on 15th August 1982. In 1991, the Indian government granted permission to private national and international channels to telecast in India. Thus, it became possible for Indians to watch international events on television. Mass media is a field of mass communication. We need mass media to facilitate the free flow of information to all strata of society. Editorials, various columns and supplements are essential parts of newspapers. Readers are also ensured of a platform to voice their opinions. Newspapers can help in making democracy stronger. Television is an audio-visual medium. This medium could cross the inherent limitations of newspapers and the radio and show the actual visuals of an event to people. Any information received through mass media needs to be reviewed critically. The news or information in the media may not always represent exact truth. We need to scan it very carefully. There is a very famous event of unauthentic information appearing in print in Germany. On April 25, 1983, Stern magazine, the German answer to Life, held a press conference to make a sensational announcement. Their star reporter had discovered a trove of Hitler's personal diaries lost since a plane crash in 1945. Now, Stern would begin publishing what he had found. The magazine claimed that the diaries, of which remarkably there had been no previous record, would require a major rewriting of Hitler's biography and the history of the Third Reich. The handwritten volumes included. 2 weeks later, the diaries were exposed as fakes, and not particularly good ones, written at great speed by Konrad Kujau, a small-time crook and prolific forger. 30 years later, the Hitler Diaries hoax is still the biggest scandal to have hit German journalism after 1945. It becomes apparent from this example that we need to be very careful about the information published by the media. Newspapers have to fulfill the task of providing fresh news to its readers. It is also necessary to unfold the background of an event in the news. At such times, newspapers have to resort to history. While reporting news in detail, Reporters try to compare it with parallel events which happened in the past. The past event may be printed in a separate frame. Thus, the reader gets access to additional information and he can get better insights about the current news. Newspapers print columns about historical information appearing under headings such as 50 years ago or 100 years ago, etc. Such columns are based on historical documents or written history. These columns provide historical information about economic, social, political events in the past and also events of historical significance. History is also essential in planning radio programs. For example, Akashvani has preserved recordings of all the speeches delivered each year by the Prime Ministers of India on 15th August. Akashvani invites historians as experts for discussions on various occasions such as the anniversaries of birth or death of national leaders, anniversaries of historical events, etc. Lectures on the contribution of various national leaders need to be supported by historical information. Programs like On This Day in History are also an integral part of the daily programs of Akashvani. Television channels also telecast programs based on history. Doordarshan and other television channels help in creating interest in history among people through their historical shows and serials. The mythological and historical serials like Ramayana, Mahabharat, Bharat Ek Khoj and Raja Shiva Chhatrapati attracted a very large audience. While producing this type of programs, maintaining accuracy with regard to the presentation of environment, outfits, weapons, lifestyles, lingual expression, etc. is essential. One needs to have a deep understanding of history of the concerned period. Currently, channels like Discovery, National Geographic History, etc. have opened a rich treasure of global history for the audience. It has enabled people to view the historical and geographic wonders at home. To make such programs more entertaining, some parts of the serial are actually enacted by actors such as the characters of heroic men and women, sportsmen, army chiefs, etc. Beside these serials about ancient monuments, forts, histories of empires, and also the history of culinary arts, are watched by a large number of people with great interest. People with deep knowledge of history in the respective field are sought out in all the fields mentioned above. Bharat Ek Khoj is an Indian historical drama based on the book The Discovery of India, written by Jawaharlal Nehru. Bharat Ek Khoj is a 53-episode television series that dramatically unfolds the 5,000-year history of India from its beginnings to the coming of Indian independence in 1947. It is a series of explorations into the different periods of Indian history, political, social and cultural. It traces the crucial and significant landmarks in the evolution of the great Indian civilization, a unique combination of multicultural, multi-religious and multi-ethnic communities constituting a pluralistic society unparalleled in the entire world. The drama was directed, written and produced by Shyam Benegal with cinematographer V.K. Murthy in 1988 for state-owned Doordarshan. Its cast included Om Puri, Roshan Seth, Tom Alter, Sadashiv Amrapurkar. Jawaharlal Nehru was portrayed by Roshan Seth. So dear students, to my mind, we can't imagine our lives without mass media. It is silly to avoid it as we can use its advantages. Though we should be careful and filter all the information we get. So that's all for this class. Thanks for watching.